Okay, in this video I'll be showing us a review of Adobe Dreamweaver. It's gonna be the software that I'll be using for this course. So I'll open it up immediately. So this is my Dreamweaver. I have the 2021 version. You click on it. So this and what Dreamweaver does is is a powerful software because in terms of links you up to getting many things done in less than few minutes. Or in fact, you can get a website in a matter of minutes. Now, one of the features of Dreamweaver is that it has starter templates. Starter templates are their kind of pages that have been created earlier. So they have been designed already. I mean, professional pages that are highly responsive. They are very friendly and it's a user-friendly software. And then it also has an option for quick start. So quick starts are, if you want to start, let's say I want to start up a bootstrap document. So starting up this document, simply I define my HTML. Most of us, maybe if you don't really know what bootstrap is or what HTML, what CSS, LESS, SSC, SAS, JavaScript, JSON, PHP, and others is, you just stay, make sure you are around the channel because we'll be bringing you classes, lessons on those other, on every one of them. As I told us earlier, that HTML is the basic structure of a website. CSS is more of the style sheet. So now let me just create up a bootstrap document now. Okay, so the moment you want to open up this any file here, it will ask you if you want to include a pre-built layout, more of how it has built already a site already for you. So the moment let's I check the box, and it also wants to, if you want to customize it, the columns, the gutter, the screens you're hoping that you built it up from, or you want to build extract a file from your Photoshop. Maybe if you use Photoshop also and you're subscribed to the Adobe Creative Cloud, you could just create more like a graphics. The moment you've designed your website in form of a graphics, you could upload it straight to the site. So what Bootstrap does, so let me say I create my file now. Now with this, now my file is already opened up. So Bootstrap has automatically, Adobe Dreamweaver has automatically created a website for me. Now what I could do is I could just simply start off by editing, making changes on how I want the site to look like. Now let's say, okay, now one of the features that makes Dreamweaver unique is that it has a built-in editor and a built-in editor. Let me say there are 3 panels in Dreamweaver. There's the code panel. This is where you could just code throughout if you want to be, if you just want to be coding, you don't want to be saying, you don't have a real-time preview of your coding. Now, if you're used to Bootstrap already, it has already installed some features for you. Now, Bootstrap documents are more of those ones you link to your CDN. If you can see, and there are thousands and thousands of features there, and it's offline. So you're not connected to the internet, you could just, so everything is already installed in Dreamweaver for you. Or if you could also take up the jQuery files and everything you need in Bootstrap. Okay, basically any change I make in Dreamweaver, it just reflects. Basically, let's say I want to add this is Bootstrap preview layout. Let me scroll down and make any changes here. Let's just say okay, let me just click directly here. So I could start up with here. Let's say I just want to add Dreamweaver with Dreamweaver. So automatically it imputes it. It has a live preview that imputes it on the side. And funny enough, you could also make your changes here. So you could change everything you want here. You could just say, and as you are changing it, there is making the changes for you also in your code editor. So I can say I want to write so now what it just does is to help you to do everything you want to do as fast as possible. And it also has a live preview. Now live preview are in terms of both, now everything here, both from glyphicons to buttons to everything, so as much as you want to do it. And one of the things that make Dreamweaver unique is that there are components that have already been prepared already, that Dreamweaver just makes the changes for you. Now let me bring it up to, let me leave it in this preview. Let's say I want to add let me just call it a jumbotron. You're dragging it, and where do you want to place it? Okay, I place it here, and automatically it comes in. So I don't need to code it now. This requires lots of code. Now you see that the code is already inserted in my code editor. Now that is one of the basic functions that Dreamweaver does. And you could just start by editing the code also Or if you also want to have, if you want to have a live, let's say a design view of your software, of how you want it to be, the like everything you want to do, what you want to do in the software. Now that's what Dreamweaver helps you to make your code everything as fast as possible. But you could even use the drag and drop components, and it doesn't just end with HTML components. It also has, it doesn't end with Bootstrap components, rather it also has HTML components and forms. These are the HTML components. It also has forms. Every form input you want to enter, most of them are in Dreamweaver already. And also, or jQuery UI or jQuery mobile, just almost virtually everything you want basically is fixed in Dreamweaver. And you could start up a file if you want also. And one of the features that Dreamweaver also has is that it has a quick edit function. What a quick edit function does is, let's say I click on this my Jumbotron class and I click on Ctrl E, or I right click on it, or I right click on it. Now you see that automatically it opens up my reference CSS file. Now you see that probably if I have like more CSS file or more classes in my CSS file that I talked about in this class, now what it does is give you a platform where you could click every one of them and make changes to as much as you can. Now you could edit these are Bootstrap CDN, so the Bootstrap document, so you could make changes here, or you could also, but the best thing to do actually while coding with Bootstrap, as I told you earlier, if you don't really know what Bootstrap is, don't worry, we'll come to that later. But while coding is just, you could copy out this let's say this class in the style sheet and open up your own CSS file and paste it. Automatically Dreamweaver overwrites it for you. As you know, that's how it's done in coding. But basically Dreamweaver gives you the opportunity to make any change you want. So now if I also right click, you could also see that how I opened it up, Ctrl E, which is quick edit. Now Dreamweaver also has a finding, like you could find any word you're looking for, both in Bootstrap. Okay, let's say I want to look for this word Jumbotron. Maybe when you start working on projects, you'll be working on thousands and thousands of projects. I could just let's say I want to find, Ctrl F, or you could right click on and click on find. If you're using a Mac, it should also be Command F, or you right click also, and you could find and replace, or you could just find in current documents. Now what it basically does is, probably let's say I write a Jumbotron. Now you could find everything, and you see the number of search results found. So you don't need to start coding everything one by one. It could basically show you where all of them are. And funny enough, also Dreamweaver also has a platform called it's called, what's it called again, QuickDocs rather. Now what QuickDocs does is that QuickDocs give you, as you are in this class now, as I told us earlier, that this is a web development class, and maybe once in a while you just forgot what a tag means. I come up to this my div class, because if you click it on your own tag, it doesn't know what your tag is. But let's say I click on this any HTML tag. Now what it does is that it explains it for you, and you say that the HTML div tag, so it explains what that tag means. And if you want to read more, know about it, it takes you to a developer site where you can also read more. Now that's starting up with Dreamweaver, or you could also make other changes in Dreamweaver. Now basically, when you start up this panel, maybe when you start up this panel, this may not really be how your panel will be, because I might actually customize this. So it has a customizable, your own may either be it may give you an option to choose a developers or standard mode. So you could come to a developer or standard. That is how your own might look, which is that there are some divisions here, and there's some divisions here, there's division. So some of these, all these things that may not really be in your file. So but you could also customize it the way you want. And Dreamweaver has a DOM that you could just reference automatically. It doesn't really need much work. So the DOM is already inbuilt, so where you could know where all your file is, and as you're clicking every one of them, you could just journey straight to where that place is. And it also has other snippets. Now what snippets are including, so you could see your own snippet by the bottom right around this place. Now you will see it in, if you are using a standard mode, or developer, you're using a standard mode in while you open Dreamweaver. So what it does is, so there is a snippet. Now snippets are codes that have been written already. So Dreamweaver allows you to have already prepared code. Let's say from Bootstrap code, the version of Bootstrap you want to use, the codes. Now probably for now, Bootstrap 5 is out, but this is Dreamweaver 2021. it has not yet encoded, they have not imputed bootstrap 5 in this in the software. So I hope that the next version that will be released, they will have it in already. Or if you want to use CSS animations or CSS effects, CSS transitions, or CSS effects, or a CSS snippet, or even HTML snippets, making calls, sending mails, or even PHP snippets or JavaScript, like virtually everything you'll be learning, you could just insert a snippet into this Dreamweaver. What it does now is that another function about Dreamweaver is that it gives you a platform to preview your images in also your browser. If you want to see it in your browser, you could create shortcuts. So the moment you click it, it refers you directly to your browser. Okay, now our browser has opened up. Now you see these were the codes we just saw over there. So, and that's how cool Dreamweaver is. It could give you platforms to you can also review what you code on your browser if you want, or any of your browser. So let's come back to our Dreamweaver. Now what Dreamweaver also does is that it could add breakpoints in terms of your making your website responsive using Dreamweaver. Now Dreamweaver also has awesome functions in terms of like phone preview. If you want to preview how it will look like on a mobile device, or as much as you can. Now the moment you are connected to the internet, you could preview how it will look like on a phone. And it also has this extract panel, very awesome function. What it does is to use Photoshop. It could create Photoshop files also it could use Photoshop files to create websites. Or if you want to come to the asset button, it gives you a link of all your assets on your site, or like basically everything. Now it has an awesome behavior function, and what those behavior does is it triggers both effects and imputes the code for you inside your own document. So you can just play around with these forms whenever you want. And even CSS transitions, they are all in Dreamweaver already. So the transitions and how it will go, or they are also jQuery themes if you want to get. So now, or the properties of any document or everything you also want to do. Now one of the things Dreamweaver has, it has a file panel where you could also declare your server. And okay, let's come over there. Now you could also declare your server how you want it to go here. Now this is actually the one I'm working on, but you could start up a new server and say, I want to declare my site. Now what it does is that you could declare your server in terms of your FTP. So I could add up, if I want to add up my server, maybe using using an FTP link or my ST, and it has a variety of options you could use, the username, the address, and it could test it for you and make sure that so far you are correct. It will test it, and it can also, you could customize it the way you want, and if you want to upload your server directly. Now it also has a site, and Dreamweaver sets up a local site in your system. So before you open up any Dreamweaver site, make sure that the first thing you do, okay, let me close it up and show you. The first thing you do before you open up any Dreamweaver documents or Dreamweaver file is to come to this quick start panel and set up your site. Okay, let me scroll down a bit. So if you set up your site here, once you click on this setup site, it will ask you the name of your site. You could just input your name, and you could just input your name, and then probably play around with everything you want to do here. And you could also set up how you want it, the versions of the file you want to use in editing, or even in the versions of the file you want to use in editing, and maybe your fonts and everything. Now one of the cool features Dreamweaver has, it also has a property panel. Let me come up to the property panel. Let's just open up a file right here. Let me open up this multi-column file. Okay, let's say I open up a file now, and let me come to my code view so I could see the codes of the file, and I can set up my themes. Okay, this is the pick properties. It has different functions you could, and in these pick properties you could set up how you want your font to be, the fonts you want to use in designing. You could set up what I want to be normal, and virtually everything you feel that it will be best for you in your projects. Okay, you could also make edits in terms of maybe the text color you use throughout your coding, or the background color, images, your margins, or you also want to change your appearance in CSS file, or you want to maybe attach links. You want to link maybe how your code would be in your CSS code, or even the colors for basic colors like hover, active links that may take you tons of time in writing while you are coding. or you could also add headings. You could customize your headings how you want every one of them to be, or you could start off by encoding how you would love your encoding to be, or also trace your image. Now basically Dreamweaver has a lot of functions also, or if you don't want that also, you could also come to you can switch your views how you want it to be, or even refresh the live preview. Now Dreamweaver, in case it comes to any point you don't see any of this, maybe this area or this or any area or even this area at all in your file, what you will do is just click on this window. In this window panel you could also see every option there. Okay, let me say I close my code inspector, is I want to put it on. You're clicking it comes, you see that you could every single thing you want, or you don't want this type of, I want to come to my Css Designer. Now you see that it opens it up for me. So okay, what you can do is you could just edit a CSS file, attach it. What this sources does is that if you want to create a new CSS file, it attach this an existing file or define this in your page as much as you want. You could attach your CSS files there, or you want to add your jQueries, how you want it to be on your screens, the orientations and the resolutions you want it, even your aspect ratio, all of them you could find it here in Dreamweaver. So another thing also another function it does is that it also has a place for selectors. Now selectors are how you want it to be in terms of every single your minimum width and just how the interface in while you are working with your CSS file. Then it also has, maybe you could also select the columns or the listing or the file in particular that you're working on. You could also know that one of the cool functions of Dreamweaver is the box approach in designs. It has a box preview layout where you could make changes to without much stress. So as you make any change you make here now, takes the approach of the CSS box model design, and you could delete any one of them, though add including the default functions also. Now, or you could also link it, or you could just make every one of them fixed. Now it also has a property model. Let's say you want to add anything at all, let's say border color or anything at all you basically want to add. So the moment you click on what you want to add, it will give you an opportunity also to choose it in exactly the way you want it to be. And that is basically what Dreamweaver does. So this CSS Designer is an awesome tool you can use also in making your edits. Now Dreamweaver also has a validation panel where you could also validate your files. You could validate your files just if the moment you click on the play button, you could validate your files. Or you also want to get your site reports, or or you want to see your file transfer protocol log, or you also want to see, you want to search anything, you want to output just basically whatever you will need in your Dreamweaver file, you will see it here. Or you could also link it to your Git also. So now Dreamweaver also has an important function in terms of the validating your document. It could validate your current documents as an XML or as a W3C. Like basically what you need in Dreamweaver are there, and including design notes, so you could make notes on your design. So the moment you save it, you could make notes on your design, and that's basically what Dreamweaver does. So I advise you, if you could afford Dreamweaver, is an awesome software to use. But though there are sites that have a free version of Dreamweaver or more of a cracked version of Dreamweaver, I could also put the link in the description. If you want to check it out, you could download it also. It's a powerful software, it's awesome, it's cool to use, and it makes your work, it hastens up your work. But if possible, if it's best if you are subscribed to the Adobe Creative Cloud, you could purchase this file also. So it doesn't cost much, it's just paid monthly. And now that's basically what it is for Dreamweaver. Now I'd like you to also subscribe to this channel. That's the last review for Dreamweaver, because we're bringing more reviews. In case you are not familiar with any of the terms we use here, or are not familiar with any of the languages we are using here, make sure you subscribe, because we already have a web development course online, and more will be coming. More tutorials, more practice, more things you need to know. Just make sure you are around us completely by subscribing and turning on the notification button. And that's basically what you'll need to know for Dreamweaver. We trust that they release better versions and it will be awesome. And I trust to bring you reviews of the best softwares you could use also in your work in web development and in your work in being an awesome developer. Thank you very much.